Thank you very much. Thank you, Beatriz, for the kind invitation. I wish I could be with you there. Love being in Miami. I, of course, remember the first summit of the Americas in 1994. I'm interested in the sort of nostalgia that I've heard coming so far from the panel for 1994. I can tell you, in the run-up to the summit of 94, there was everybody was so nervous. Oh, would we have a good agenda? Would we be well received? How would countries behave? The FTAA, by the way, was an idea, although it had been kicking around for a while. It was an idea primarily promoted at that time by certain Latin American governments, particularly, believe it or not, the government of Argentina, because the Argentines felt that NAFTA, which had just been approved, would disadvantage exports from Argentina seeking entry into the United States. And therefore, Argentina wanted to be on a level playing field with Mexico. So the push for the FTAA, although so often attributed to Washington, really came from Latin America. One of the virtues of summits is that it puts Latin America on the agenda of Washington. I can tell you, I just spoke to the White House yesterday. Believe me, they are fully engaged in Latin America, despite what's going on in Eastern Europe now. And that's because of the summit. They have to focus on it. Summits also give Latin America a tremendous opportunity to put forward their own initiatives with leverage, because the United States wants the summit to be successful and wants Latin America to be present and to be participatory and to feel that they're getting something out of it. So those are some of the advantages, really, of summits, which we see right now. The media, what's wrong with American media? Everything is terrible, everything's falling apart, the world's coming to an end, there's violence everywhere. That's the media. We should be sufficiently sophisticated to know that that's not the real world. The major leaders will attend. Bolsonaro will attend. Fernandez of Argentina will attend. AMLO never travels. AMLO never goes to multilateral meetings, ever, because he only wants to be places where he's the center of attention. And in multilateral meetings, it wouldn't be just his show, his mañanitas. So he will send his foreign minister, who frankly is a lot smarter and a lot better representative of Mexico than he is. So we're better off. Just about everybody else will be there, and they will be very engaged. Biden will spend a couple of days there. Vice President Harris will spend a couple of days there. The cabinet will be there. Summits have three pieces. There is the Civil Society Summit, opportunity for all sorts of groups interested in environment, gender, democracy promotion, justice issues. They will be there, and they will have a couple of days of meetings, and those meetings will interact with government officials from all around the hemisphere, including, of course, the United States and from Los Angeles. And then there's the CEO Business Summit. And here because of COVID, may be a bit reduced in attendance, but typically you have about 1,000 senior corporate executives from all around the hemisphere. I recall Mark Zuckerberg, for example, addressing the CEO Summit a while back. And because it's in Los Angeles, you'll have a very large US presence as well. Partly it's an opportunity for business to network among themselves, of course, but also to get face time with the presidents and ministers of trade and foreign affairs from all around the region. So I assure you, it'll be an exciting time, and the media will get caught up in it as well. Now we'll see if Bukele and a few others create a circus a little bit just to get some attention. That might happen, but let's keep our eyes on the ball. So what do we see at summits? They establish norms. You're the Inter-American Institute for Democracy. Democracy will be a major norm. I myself will be chairing a panel at the Civil Society Forum on democracy and democracy promotion in the hemisphere. Let's see what ideas we come up with. At the CEO business meeting and at the Civil Society Forum, my understanding is that representatives will be invited from the three countries suffering under authoritarian regimes, whose governments will not be invited, but they will be present, both from the private sector and from civil society organizations, those that can attend. So they will have a chance to gain a little visibility, network among themselves, advocate on behalf of their positions. So democracy as a norm has been fortified dramatically at summits. The Inter-American Democracy Charter, not perfect, but an important document, grew, of course, out of the Quebec Summit of 2001 and was signed later in Lima precisely on 9/11 by coincidence. The idea of open markets and free trade, currently under attack, undoubtedly, in the hemisphere. But let's see if the Biden administration, which is a little afraid of these issues now. But I tell you, there will be an initiative in the area of trade to say all those countries of the region that have free trade agreements among themselves, let's see how we can build on those agreements. Can we modernize them? Can we add digitalization, internet commerce, for example? Can we increase trade among themselves by fiddling with the rules of origin, for example? Supply chains, a lot of talk about supply chains. Let's see how high up that is on the agenda. But this is a golden opportunity for the countries of the Americas to engage, to attract nearshoring or friendshoring, as companies see that, well, locations in Eastern Europe or in Asia perhaps aren't as secure as they had thought. And so at least a portion of their production will move to the Americas. Now, countries have to be, of course, open and willing to embrace such investment and trade opportunities. And some countries are more better positioned than others. And we'll see what decisions are made. So we see all of this going on in the region in summits, a chance to affirm values, a chance to network with civil society and business, and then a chance to create some specific agenda items. And what will be the agenda, guys? I mean, let's talk about what's actually going to happen in Los Angeles. There will definitely be some agreement on the issue of migration. Now, there's a lot of population pressures in the region that has to do with demography, guys. People had a lot of kids 20, 30 years ago. Let's think about why that was. But everybody who opposes birth control and family planning, et cetera, they bear some responsibility for the dramatic immigration that's going on in the region because of the demographic explosion. Okay, there will be an agreement to how do we, given the realities of migration, how do we support and take better care of and nurture those people who have migrated and who don't have the resources. So that'll be a nice initiative on the agenda, a humanitarian approach to migration. There'll certainly be something in the area of pandemics. We'll see exactly what they put on the table, but something so that when the next pandemic hits, or even the next COVID variety, the hemisphere will be better prepared. But you know, at the beginning of COVID, some leaders said, this isn't real, it's conspiracy, whatever. You don't hear that now. And that sort of stuff will be off the table. There'll be an evidence-based scientific approach towards healthcare embraced by everybody in Los Angeles. There'll certainly be something about energy and infrastructure. That's, of course, related to investment. You got to get energy costs down. Let's see what there is. And then finally, this issue of supply chains and free trade agreements. And let's see what they can put on the table. So I hope you appreciate, the summits don't solve all issues, but all the regions of the world have something like this. The EU, of course, meets every 6 months as a body. Europeans complain about it. Brussels is too powerful. It's a very important mechanism of regional integration. In Asia, the Pacific, you have the APEC, APEC Economic Cooperation Forum, super important, forces again the United States to focus on Asia at least once a year because that's an annual meeting, and Africa has its events. So Latin America would be left out and left behind if it didn't have a regional forum such as the Summit of the Americas, equivalent to the European Union or the APEC Forum in Asia. So it's very important that this be nurtured. There are ups and downs. Yes, there are some leaders in Latin America today who are, should we say, substandard underperformers. That's unfortunate, so you don't quite have the leadership in the region that one would like to see. Nevertheless, the Foro of the Summit of the Americas has all the advantages that I talked about, forcing Washington to pay attention, forcing all of the governments to think about inter-American relations and regional cooperation. It definitely underpins the norms that I think we're all interested in, and some specific initiatives will come out of this summit. And just as Miami in '94 was a lot of fun for those of you who were fortunate enough to be there, if any of you can come to Los Angeles in a couple of weeks, I guarantee you'll have a very good time as well. So thank you all. Thank you again, Beatrice, for the kind invitation.